It's official, folks. It is hard to sell your home. What do I mean by that? According to Google search, it is now the highest ever for help. I can't sell my house. What does this mean? Well, folks, for this channel, for this community, that should be nothing but sweet, sweet messages. Because again, why? Well, when it's hard for sellers to sell, it's easier for buyers, you and I, investors, to negotiate great deals. Whether that is large discounts off list price, whether that is second position notes, where that's seller financing in first. I want you all to hear messages of doom, like it's never been harder to sell a home, as messages as good news. Now, again, folks, it is time to write disrespectful offers. It is time to follow up, follow up, follow up. Never forget, most of my deals were made by following up 3, 5, 9, 12 times. It's very, very rare that you will write an offer that's disrespectful and get it the first time. So please, this is a numbers game. This is a persistence game. This is the game that all of us should win. It is frankly a game that we should all dominate. If it's hard to sell and buyers are scared, we should sharpen up our skills, get creative, and write some great offers. So again, take all of those negative headlines and just smile. When doomers scare people, smile, because what's happening? Doomers are killing your competition. They are inadvertently helping you by scaring people who are drinking their poison. So folks, please do the work. Please get a buy box. Please be disciplined. Please write disrespectful offers. And of course, follow up, follow up, follow up. Redfin out with a note about January saying 1 in 7 home sales fell through in January. They estimate that that could be about 40,000 transactions that went into escrow and then fell out. Again, when you see something like that, you should smile. Why? Well, folks, that means 40,000 sellers were in escrow, thought they had a deal, and boom, it disappeared. Guess who's going to be extra motivated to sell? Yes, the seller who got dumped wants to sell. Ray Dalio out with a very fearful message talking about there's only 3 ways out of our financial mess. Of course, talking about government debt. There is the disorderly decline, the managed decline, and for those hoping for a ray of sunshine, you have AI renewal, where AI 5X's productivity, and we grow out of this catastrophe. We did get from Fed speak yesterday, Fed President Collins. We will likely hold current rates for some time. Then goes on to say, recent job data is promising. What are these Fed presidents saying? Do they not know about these crazy revisions? Didn't we just write off like 640,000 jobs? Didn't that just disappear with a flick of an eraser? Wild. And also, it is very clear that Collins is on the hawkish side, wanting to keep rates where they are. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Fed President Cook, we may not see AI productivity in the data for 5 years. Woo. A lot of people talking about AI destroying the world in 18 months. And now we got a Fed president saying we're not even going to see the data for 5 years. And then Fed President Waller, I don't know if you guys saw this. It went around the pretty big on social media, specifically on X is where I saw it. There was this report by Centrini Research, basically painting a horrible view of the U.S. economy in 2028. It was actually so widely reported that Christopher Waller, a Fed president, replied not to a research article, but to a theoretical thought experiment about what 2028 might look like. And again, it is very, very doom. But he felt like he had to report on it. He said, The Centrina report on AI overstates the risks to jobs. I don't think AI is going to be substantially displace white-collar work. Woo! He's saying these things out loud. These are going to be clipped. AI won't take humans out of the picture. It is simply a tool. And AI tech will bring a change to the economy. That last statement, I think, is without question correct. I don't think there's anybody out there who's looking at AI and not thinking the world will be different. Again, we can quibble, we can argue, we can speculate. Will it be better? Will it be worse? It's going to be different. And anytime there's drastic change, there will be some people hurt and some people helped. This is going to be messy. Let's congratulate one person for joining school yesterday, Isaiah. Isaiah, thank you for joining school. Please introduce yourself. Folks, don't forget you can go to school for $20, watch the entire year 3 event. Don't know if you know this, but you can also watch year 2. Year 2 is there. I think one of the surprise speakers at year 2 was Graham Stephan. He snuck in at the end of day 1 and gave a great 1-hour Q&A session. So lots of great speakers this year, but don't forget you can also go get year 2 plus all of the podcasts. We did have Fed President Bostic say the U.S. may be heading towards a structurally higher unemployment, something that the U.S. Central Bank can't offset. What does that mean? Basically, my interpretation of Bostic's words are AI is going to come around. It's going to reduce the number of folks in white-collar jobs, and there's nothing the Fed can do about it. That's basically what it's saying. Just throwing his hands in the air saying, hey, we can't help, not our thing. We did get some earnings the other day. We got Domino's Pizza. They beat revenue but missed on earnings. They did raise their dividend for the 12th quarter in a row. So if you're playing dividends, Domino's Pizza is there for you. Planet Fitness was interesting. What I read there is they're actually benefiting from large retail bankruptcies. If you guys don't know Planet Fitness, they have a very large footprint. So when one of the big bankruptcies happen, they are often scooping up prime locations for a discount because it is so hard to lease large spaces. So Planet Fitness is getting prime space at a discount. First Solar, still struggling, missed on earnings, but adding scale and production in Louisiana and South Carolina. AMC, I don't even remember the last time I went to a theater. God, it might have been 5 years ago. Oof. Wow. I think the last movie I saw was the last Fast and the Furious. I think I saw that in a movie theater, but that might have been the last one, whenever that came out. Says they're refinancing debt, pushing maturities, and reducing dependency on high box office. I'm not sure what that's code for, but it sounds like we're hanging on by our fingernails and trying to survive. Kind of what it sounds like to me. Lastly, Workday, slowest backlog growth on record at only 6.8%. Ken McElroy, saw a post from Ken McElroy talking about mortgage rates going into the low 5s. I'm not sure I agree with him, but it is always an interesting thought experiment. Again, as I've said for years now, when does the move-up buyer re-engage? The housing market is in a depression because the move-up buyer largely is not participating. Will a mortgage rate of 5.25%, 5.5%, shoot, 5 be enough to re-engage the move-up buyer? I'm not sure. But again, it is an interesting piece. The last thing I did note after reviewing the Centrini piece, Centrini research, again, about 2028 in the doom cycle from AI. This is what I kind of took for it. One is it will have an explosion in entrepreneurial activity. Again, this is something that really goes to my thoughts that AI will be a net positive over a decade. It may be painful in the short term, but I do think that there will be many, many companies develop single operators, 2 people that go on to be worth 10, 100, $1 billion. Productivity boom. I don't think there's any question that you're going to see productivity increase. The question is it 200%, 300%? We'll get real GDP growth. I don't know about that. Maybe. And then low inflation. This is the one that I think is really interesting because if you can tie AI and then robots, you can really start to see disinflation and potentially deflation. But at the end of the day, folks, the thing that I think the Centrini research piece missed is if you collapse jobs, you will not get real GDP growth. You just can't. We are a consumer-based economy. We are not a managed central economy like China. It just doesn't tie together. All right, folks, I hope you have an amazing day. Please subscribe to school. Go get your year 2, year 3. There's a 10-week boot camp. If you want to get started and somebody hold your hand, there's a 10-week boot camp in there. There's a buy box deep dive, all kinds of free education, 11 accountability groups, a very active forum community. So again, join, get around 650 other wealth builders, and you won't be disappointed. All right, folks, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day. Peace.